Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode we're going to be talking about the Washington Redskins versus Philadelphia Eagles Week 7 matchup based on analytics. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. And since it's a weekly collection, it will always be a very fluid way to keep track of various team trends. However, there will always be little nuggets of data that could become bigger nuggets of data as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchups based on analytics. And if you are new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So starting with this matchup between the Eagles and the Redskins. So starting with the basic NFL stat comparisons. And again, NFL stat basic comparisons is just a general look at how the offense is doing, how the defense is doing, and how the special teams are performing. And based on that data, the Eagles are favored in this game when it comes to those basic sort of, offense, special teams, defense, etc. But there are some things I wanted to point out between these, basically look at, okay, there is some disparities here. Like there is some things that the Redskins do better than the Eagles, and there's also some, and most of the stuff the Eagles are better in, but there are some things that the Redskins do well. So starting with some of the things that the Redskins, do well. When you look at the total D score, which is basically the defense's ability to prevent first downs, and the Redskins are heavily favored there. The Redskins are also favored when it comes to the total O score, which the total O score basically looks at the offense's ability to get first downs. Basically the whether you're talking passing downs or rushing downs. So the Redskins are better on defense and offense when it comes to generating first downs and preventing first downs. So that is kind of the basics as to why the Redskins are favored here. However, when it comes to turnover ratio, Eagles are heavily favored in that regard. The Eagles do not turn over the football as much as the Redskins have up to this point. On top of that, offensive score percentage is more so with the Eagles. The Eagles typically score on every single drive, whereas the Redskins don't usually score on every single drive. Then, of course, when you look at defensive score percentage, the Eagles typically don't give up as many points per drive as the Redskins do. Surprising considering some of the good things the Redskins defense has. On top of that, you look at turnovers. The Eagles generate more turnovers. And the only thing the Redskins do better is sack percentage. I mean, the Redskins, generate more sacks than the Eagles. The Redskins also kind of generate more interceptions than the Eagles. The Redskins prevent sacks at a higher rate compared to the Eagles as well. And that's about it. So offensively speaking, the Eagles perform really good in terms of, but the biggest thing is the Eagles perform really well in terms of scoring on every single drive and preventing points in every single drive. As much as the Redskins defense has a lot of things that are good, sack percentage and turnovers and all that kind of stuff, even though they have, or not turnovers, but even though the Redskins do have some things that kind of go in their favor on defense, it doesn't really matter because they're not preventing points, and that's the basic sort of points I guess I want to get out here. Then when you look at special teams, punt return, basically, punt return average is more so with the Eagles. Kick return yardage is with the Eagles. Preventing punt return yardage is also with the Eagles. Redskins are better in terms of preventing kick return yardage. Field goal percentage heavily in the Eagles' favor. Extra point percentage is kind of a wash between both of these teams, but it does slightly favor the Eagles. And punting average favors the Eagles as well. So special teams is pretty much dominated by the Eagles in almost every single phase of special teams. Punt return, kick return, preventing, defensive special teams, field goal percentage, all that stuff, punting average, all that stuff pretty much favors the Eagles. So offensively speaking, a ton of stuff favors the Eagles. Defensively speaking, a lot of stuff favors the Eagles. And on top of that, special teams favors the Eagles. So that is why the Eagles are favored. It doesn't mean the Redskins aren't a strong team. I mean, the Redskins are definitely an above-average NFL team so far this season. But it's just that the Eagles are just a little bit better in terms of, all these sort of different data points, which is kind of what gives them the favor in this particular game. Then we look at some other sort of matchups. So looking at some down and distance kind of data, when you look at completion percentage of the Eagles offense versus the Redskins defense, this continues to be somewhat of an issue for the Eagles. first down, second down situations. Those are the areas where I think Carson Wentz needs to improve. Like, just below average on first down, below average on second down, and definitely really, really high completion percentage on third down. And again, that is where the Eagles make their money, or Carson Wentz makes his money, is in third down situations. But first and second down have just not been very efficient. So that's definitely an area where I think he needs to improve. I mean, because that's the consistent theme with him this year. And then, of course, you look at the Redskins offense versus the Eagles defense when it comes to completion percentage. And this favors the Redskins offense in terms of first down situations, second down situations for the most part. Then you look at rushing down. So the Eagles rushing offense versus the Redskins rushing defense. And honestly, this is kind of a wash. The Eagles are there's a huge disparity between the Eagles offense and the Redskins defense on first down. And there's also a huge disparity between the Redskins defense and the Eagles offense on second down in terms of favoring them there. So this is definitely a pretty big, kind of evenly matched kind of disparity here. Then we get to the Redskins rushing offense versus the Eagles rushing defense. Heavily favors the Redskins offense. Well, not heavily, but a decent amount. The Redskins offense is a little bit better than the Eagles defense. The Eagles defense does really well in terms of preventing first downs on first down, but they kind of let everything else go on second and third. So I do think the Redskins will have success running the football, especially when it comes to second down and third down situations. Then, of course, when you look at passing down, so this is the Eagles passing offense versus the Redskins passing defense. And again, just like the completion percentage stuff, everything is third down dependent. First down is below average. Second down is below average. And those are areas where the Redskins will have advantages. But third down, the key down, that is where Carson Wentz has been killing it this year. So but again, Wentz does need to improve first and second down. Every down matters when it comes to converting. When you're able to convert on first down, then you don't have to worry about converting on third down. So from that kind of sense, that's the one thing I think that Wentz needs to improve on is every other down versus third down, because he's killing it on third down. Again, that's great, but he does need to get better in terms of first and second down. In terms of those are the scenarios, the downs and distances where I think he needs to improve. Then, of course, when you look at the Redskins offense versus the Eagles defense when it comes to passing downs, and this actually favors the Eagles defense when you're talking about first down situations and third down situations. But there is a big disparity on second down, which I do think the Redskins will have some success, because that's the best down for the Redskins, and it's also the worst down for the Eagles. So I do think that the Redskins will have success on second down. Then, of course, you look at sack rate. So this is the Eagles offense versus the Redskins defense. And the vast majority of the sacks that the Eagles have given up have been on first down. And that also is the down that the Redskins get most of their sacks. So that's going to be a fun matchup to watch in terms of first down situations in terms of sacks. And then when you look at the Redskins offense versus the Eagles defense when it comes to sacks, this actually goes to the Redskins' favor. And the only sort of key down and distance to kind of keep track of is second down, because most of the sacks that the Redskins have given up have been in second down situations. That's also the area where the Eagles get most of their sacks. The Eagles don't really get as many sacks as the Redskins do, but most of the sacks they do get are in second down situations. So that's kind of why I'm bringing that up for the most part. Then you look at interception ratio for the Eagles offense versus the Redskins defense, and this honestly favors the Eagles. When you're talking about first down situations and third down situations, most of the interceptions that Carson Wentz throws are in second down situations, which is also where most of the interceptions the Redskins get are in second down situations. So this will be kind of something to watch, but for the most part, the Eagles don't really throw a lot of picks in terms of first and third down. It's just second down is where most of the issues result. Then finally, you look at the Redskins offense versus the Eagles defense when it comes to interceptions. And mostly favors the Redskins for the most part, but a key matchup to watch is third down situations. The Eagles are one of the best defenses in the NFL when it comes to generating interceptions on third down, and the Redskins are one of the worst offenses in the NFL when it comes to throwing interceptions on third down. So that is definitely going to be something to keep track of, to think about for the rest of the year because of that factor. So overall, how do I feel about this game? Well, I do side Eagles. I think I'm not the biggest believer in the Eagles overall. I don't think this is a dominant football team, but what NFL team is dominant this year? I mean, none of the teams this year have really been dominant or special or anything like that. But I do think the Eagles do a lot of things really well. I think they're able to put points on the board, first of all, which is really helpful. I think their defense is adequate enough to create turnovers. I think the special teams is another factor that gets really underrated that I think they do really well. And I do like the Redskins as a team. I think their defense is decent. I think they do a lot of things really well. I don't think they're going to be a pushover. I do think there's a scenario where they can win. Like I do think there is a scenario where the Redskins can win this game. Like this is not a unwinnable game for the Redskins. I think they're a strong team in their own right. This game as well is at let me just double check on this. But yeah, this game is actually at the Eagles. So that definitely will favor the Eagles as well, being a home game for them. But what always travels well? A good defense. So as much as the Redskins have been giving up points on defense and all that kind of stuff, I do think there will be some opportunities here. So that is the best you can ask for, I guess, is I think that the Redskins defense, if they're going to win this game, I think the Redskins defense really has to shine in this game. It's already banged up, though, and that's kind of my big worry is they lost Jonathan Allen for the rest of the year. They've had little injuries here and there that definitely have kind of interrupted some things. So again, I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that these are impact players that they're losing, which is going to have an effect. So from that sort of thing. But again, if the Redskins show up and do their thing, I do think that there can be some success. Like I do think that this is definitely a winnable game for the Redskins. But ultimately, I just have to go Eagles. And that's how I feel about that in terms of how I roll. And of course, you can find my other work at draftcomer.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.